Okay, good afternoon, all. So let's start with the today's session, starting with React.js. So we will be learning about the React.js today. So before starting the session, let's not forget the knowledge session etiquettes, punctuality, respect session timings. You are requested not to join session after a 5 minutes threshold. Post the session start time. Feedback. Make sure to submit a constructive feedback for all sessions as it is very helpful for the presenter. Silent mode. Keep your mobile devices in silent mode. Feel free to move out of session in case you need to attend an urgent call. Avoid unwanted chit chat during the session. So, the today's agenda for this session will be we will be discussing about what is React.js, why React.js, what are the benefits of using React.js, what are the prerequisites, the installation process, the directory structure that React follows, and we will be seeing a simple React component in React.js. So, what is React.js? React is actually an open source JavaScript library. It is used for building interactive and beautiful UIs, specifically for the single page applications. Now, what is single page application? Single page application is a web application or website that interacts with the user by dynamically rewriting the current page rather than loading entire new pages from the server. Means that the page is always the same, and instead of making request on and on to the server, we just make request to the server once a single click is made or a click is made. So how a single page application works, for example, when you browse through your email, you will notice that not much changes during navigation. The sidebar and the header remain untouched as you go through your inbox. The single page application only sends what you need with each click, and your browser renders that information. Now, and next, Abhishek, previous slide, please. Previous. That first one, yes. So React follows the component-based architecture. Means in React we do not develop the whole UI at once. Instead, we develop components. Like a simple UI, if you have seen many of the UIs, that UI can be broken into multiple components, and then that component is built one by one, and then that are composed together to make the whole UI. As many of us think that React is a framework, but not React is not a framework. It is actually a JavaScript library that is used to build interfaces. React follows declarative approach. By declarative approach, it means to say that it allows you to control flow and state in your application by saying it should look like this. Instead, what we do in imperative style is it allows you to control your application by saying this is what you should do. Means in declarative approach, you just have to tell what to do, not to tell how to do. Next slide, please. So here is an example of a UI that is broken into components. You can see this is a UI of Instagram, where the UI is broken into multiple components like search component, profile description component, stories component, post list component. So likewise, this we develop each component at a time in React, and then these components are grouped together to make a beautiful UI. Next slide. So why React.js? As we are familiar that we have multiple front-end development frameworks and libraries. So why React.js? What React.js add-ons to so that we get switched to the React.js? So React.js follows component style architecture. Means it is based on component architecture where instead of developing the whole UI, we develop components, and later these simple components are combined to make a beautiful and interactive UI. The next one is high performance of your app. React has a feature called virtual DOM, that is in which the representation of the UI, that is the UI that is being rendered, is actually kept into the memory, is actually kept in a virtual DOM, and then it is synced with the real DOM. So whatever gets changed, like if some of the components get changed or updated, so instead of updating the whole UI, the React just sync with the real DOM, and that particular component is updated. So this increases your performance of your app. Now the next is easy transition to React Native. React Native is a mobile development framework, and it is effortless. If you know, if you are already familiar with React, then it wouldn't take much of your time to switch to the React Native and building your first mobile apps. It's easy to learn as React uses basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It becomes quite easy to learn React even if you have beginner knowledge in the required fields. Create React app. Talking about Create React app is actually a tool, is actually a utility tool which do all the heavy lifting. Means you do not have to create all the initial files by your own. It is created by the Create React app tool. It sets up the configuration for the project, and then you can simply edit the code and make your React app. Now the less development time. React components require you to as the components are built that are reusable, so the development time required is less. Like if you have cards in your pages, multiple pages, you have designed a card and you want to use it in multiple pages, so instead of designing that cards so many times, you can just simply use that component wherever you want, and that card will be get rendered on the DOM. Next slide. So these are some of the popular web apps that are built with React. Like Facebook uses React, it is developed by Facebook. So Facebook is built with React, Netflix, Instagram, and many such apps are built with React. Next slide. Now prerequisites. So Abhishek.
Yes, prerequisites, which you would be needed for installing the React in your system. Before installing React, we just have to install some software in your machine. First is Node.js, and another one is npm. For Node.js, you can simply go to your official website of Node.js, which I can give you preview. Just go to Node.js official website and you can download the LTS version. Version is recommended as it is stable to the most of the devices or systems which you are installing it. Uh, then the another software npm version, it is installed when you install the Node.js in your machine. Next, installation of React. By React, you can install by two methods in your system. First is the creating React app by globally by this command, and another one you can directly create React app in your system by create React app, and my app is the uh, app name, which I will show. Just open the terminal where you want to create a React app. If you want to install it globally, just write npm install -g. -g is for global, and create React app.
So npm requires you to install that create React app globally, but if you do not want to load your system with global apps, or you don't want your system space to be used, so you can simply use the another command, that is npx create React app, and then are followed by the app name. That will only install the create React app tool once in your system, once that project is made. So you do not need to install it globally in your system. You can just use npx create React app followed by your app name, and it will create the React app for you.
Yes. Now, as I have installed it globally, now I will just create React app space my app. My app is the name of the app which you want to create.
Till now, do you guys have any kind of questions?
No, sir. It's clear.
Okay. So just to add on to this, if you want to learn React and you don't have much knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then that is fine. You don't require that much of knowledge. You just have to take basic knowledge of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you are good to go with the React thing, and you can start learning React.
Yeah, now the my app React app is made. First, you have to go into the app by typing cd my app. Now you are in the app. Now for running the first you need to open this in a code editor. This is the directory structure of your app. Note modules. Note modules, it contains a React library and React libraries and the third party libraries which you install while creating the app. Uh, Another folder is the public. Public is the folder where you have the assets folder in which you can create, add images or favicon, icon, HTML, logo of the app which you want to add. And the main folder is the SRC folder where you do all the development. Uh, First is app.css. In this app.css, it contains the styling part of the main app page. In app.js, this is the main file where you do all the editing stuff, which will be reflected in the website screen which you see. And package.log.json, it contains the dependencies and which you add dependencies while creating the app. It all contains it. And let me run the program. For running the program, just type npm start, enter. Now you can see the app is now running. Mm, If I will just edit this part and write h1 hello react and save it. Now you can see hello react is reflected in the live site. Simple React component. Simple React component is the as Saurabh has tell that the website is divided into multiple components. in which the header part is the different component and the side navbar is the different and main page is the different, which we combined to create a app. And now demo part.
Okay, let's start with the demo. I will let you I will be making a simple React component for you, and will be telling all the required things that a component needs. So let me share my screen.
If you have any question till now, you can ask.
No, Abhishek.
Abhishek, please stop presenting.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's create a app first. It will be taking few minutes according to the internet speed. Yes, so the app has made. Now just move to that folder, open the code editor. Now here in the public folder, you have a file named index.html file. This is the main file. This is the only HTML file where all the UI will be going to render. Now here you can see there is a div named id root. So whatever we will be developing will be get placed here only. Means that whatever code we will be writing in the app.js file, that will be placed here, and this will be reflected on the browser. So that's why there is a concept of single page application. So we do not need to make any other HTML file. This is the only single file, and we will be redirecting, we will be using that app to render here. That you can see in the index.js file. Here we have selected that id, we have selected that div with root id, and that app component will be rendered on this div. So now let's edit this. Let's first start the development server. Start the development server, just type npm start. Just edit this code. In React, if you want to write multiple lines of HTML, then you have to enclose that all HTML into a single tag. Means like if I will do it like this. If I want a h1 tag, if I want a h1 and write here hello React, and then I need a paragraph, suppose, then it will give the error. So to write multiple lines of HTML code, you will have to wrap up this in a single tag like this, and then you can use that paragraph also, and you can see the changes here. Now what a simple React component consists of, it actually consists of some import statements that you will be using here. A component function, this is a component function. And one thing you should remember, that a component function is always named by using capital letters. You cannot name it like this. If you name it like this and then you export this component, then wherever you will be using this component, the JSX will treat it as a inbuilt element like a div or span. That is how the JSX works, and this is the JSX part. JSX is basically JavaScript extended syntax, JavaScript XML. It stands for JavaScript XML, and it lets you write HTML with JavaScript. Like if here I need to add some JavaScript, then I can simply open the curly braces and write any of the JavaScript expression here or any variable we are using. This is the power of JSX. So now let's see how can we reuse a component. So let's make a component first. I have made a folder for components. I have made new component .js. Write the import statement. Make your component function. You must enclose the HTML in the parenthesis after return.
I think function spelling is wrong.
Yes. And do not forget to export this. You can, there are two types of export that you will be seeing in the later sessions, but you can simply write export default and it will export your component function. Without exporting, you cannot use it anywhere. Now I have to use this new component in app for rendering. So I will simply write here import new component, and then I can use it like this. New component, and here you can see I haven't saved the file yet.
Mhm.
New component file is unsaved.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, see, hello from new component. Now if you want this new component somewhere else also, then just make another component. Now I want that new component to be used here also. So I will just import that component here. Import new component, and I will simply use it here. think I haven't exported it here. See, we can use that component here also. So that is the component reusability in React that helps you develop beautiful UIs without spending much time and effort. If you have designed something for you once, you can simply use it wherever you want. So in a component, there are three things. First, the import statements that you are using. Second, the component function that must be named using the capital letters, and then the JSX that is being rendered on the browser. And it is the app component that is the main app component, that all other components will be merged here only. And this is app.css. Whatever style you will be adding here will be applied to the whole app, as here we define the global styles for the app. Do you have any confusion?
No, sir.
So that's it from the demo part. Abhishek, share the screen.
Yes, sir.
One slide back. So if you want to get started with the React, you can follow these links. You can simply visit to the React documentation and you can learn from React there also, from Java T point, and simply learn. There are so many websites and channels where you can learn React from. So that's it for this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. So Abhishek and Saurabh, this has been a wonderful session, very, very impactful and powerful one. I'm sure we all would have learned a bit more and would have enriched ourselves an extra mile through this session. In case anybody has any questions, so Deepak, you have one question, please ask. Anybody, any questions? I could see Deepak raised his hands.
Anyone, do you have any questions?
No. Sorry.
All right. So thank you so much, Abhishek, and thanks, Saurabh, so much for this wonderful session. I thank you, everyone, for coming over to this learning platform and gain that extra bit of enrichment. Would request you for two things. One, a post after this session, you all would receive a experience, learning experience feedback link in your respective inboxes. Do siphon out some your 1-2 minutes of your precious time and share your learning experiences with us. They are very helpful and meaningful to all of us. Second, there is Great Place to Work survey which is going on. I would request and encourage everyone to share your voices, your experiences, and help us transform into a better organization and great one. So, with this, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good and great learning day ahead. And thank you so much, Saurabh and Abhishek.
Thank you,
Thank
Johnny.
you,
Thank
John.
you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.